Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual open house. We're glad that you could be here with us tonight. Tonight, you're going to hear from department chairs, admissions, an alumni, and the Career Center. You'll get a chance to ask questions throughout the night as well. So whether it's your first time here with us or whether you've attended many FIDM events, I want to extend a very warm welcome to each one of you. Now, just in case this is your very first event here with us at FIDM, I would like to give you a very brief FIDM 101 to get us started. So FIDM is an accredited specialized private college in Los Angeles, California. We offer associate and bachelor's degrees as well as an MBA. We prepare students for the we prepare them with the creative, technical, and business skills that they need to be ready for careers in industries of fashion, creative business, interior design, digital arts, and entertainment. So here at FIDM, we believe that your college experience should be rigorous, exciting, challenging, and transformative. But above everything else, it should empower you to launch yourself into a satisfying and successful career that suits your particular passions and personality. So tonight, you're going to hear from some of our world-class faculty. And I think you're going to really enjoy getting to hear from them and get a sense of their knowledge, industry experience, and the way that they use our project-based curriculums and industry partnerships to help prepare students for their careers. So tonight, you're also going to have an opportunity to hear from our Career Center. Work experience is a very key part of an education at FIDM. In fact, from the first day of class, the Career Center becomes an integral part of connecting students to the industry and helping them to integrate into a network of over 70,000 alumni worldwide. So tonight, you're also going to get to hear from one of our influential alumni. The FIDM community is full of unique and talented individuals like yourself who would like to pave their own unique path in this world. So we offer degrees in over 20 different specialized majors that are all stackable. So students can layer their degrees and create their own path based on who they are and who they want to become. So tonight, we want to give you a glimpse into this beloved FIDM community of ours. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm joined today by some very talented industry experts who also happen to be program chairs and directors at FIDM. So we have everything from an award-winning journalist to a former VP from the beauty industry, a former buyer from Dior, a former creative director, and a red carpet expert and fashion designer. So we're blessed to have all of these talented people also as program directors and chairs here at FIDM. So allow me to introduce our panel. First, we have Tom Henkenius, who is the director of the digital marketing program, Mimi Su, the director of the merchandising and marketing program, Tina Perez, director of beauty marketing and product development, Miguel Barragan, director of merchandise product development, and Nick Barrios, the co-chair of the fashion design program. Thank you all for being here on our panel tonight. So good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We have a lot to talk about and not all the time in the world. So let's get going. Before we get into everything, the first thing that I would like to know is I'd really like you guys all to give us an overview of the career possibilities that are here at FIDM. So in my experience in being a student and talking to students, whenever we go to a career fair, it seems like over and over again, we're seeing the same careers being offered at like a high school career fair, right? So I know that there's so much more out there that students don't always know about. So can you all give us an idea, help us understand the career possibilities that are associated with each one of your majors?
Sure. If you want me to go first, Heather, I'll take it on first.
I would love you to go first.
All right, great. So as the director of the beauty marketing product development program, what this program is and the way I do this, I always do it as a visualization, right? So if everybody kind of just takes a second, you think about your favorite store to go buy health and beauty care products, anything like that. So is it a Sephora? Is it a Ulta? Is it Walgreens, CVS? Is it Nordstrom? You know, wherever you go, typically where you go to buy any of your beauty care products, whether it's cosmetics, hair care, skin care, bath and body, right? So stand a second at the door to that store and look in. And all of those products, now, whether you realize it or not, in all probability, in your average store, you're looking at, at about $80,000 to $110,000, 10,000 pieces of product on the shelf.
Mhm.
Where did all those products come from? Now, you can say this for beauty, but I can also say this for fashion. I can also say this for any industry. Look into the store in your mind and think about, where did all those products come from, even online? Where did they come from? And I don't just mean like who physically put them there, but who thought up the concept? Who decided that this new product needed to come to market? Who decided that there was an opening in the market where no one else was playing? Who decided what packaging it should go in, what scent it should have, what formula should be, what price it should be, what target market it should go to, what consumer would buy it, how to position it, which store to sell it in, whether to sell it online or in person, who to sell it to, how to communicate, right? That is sort of like all of that takes place behind the scenes. And you don't think about all the different steps in the process. You have packaging companies and people who design packaging. You have product development, the people who make what I call affectionately the goop. You have people who create the graphic design, people who write the copy. You have people who are in charge of production and planning, of getting the componentry from the factory to the location. You have people whose jobs that are fly all over the world just to qualify and quantify factories and to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do and legally following standards, right? You have people who travel around the world looking for trends and trying to figure out what the opening is. You have people who travel around making sales calls, training, education, e-commerce, social media. So like, I'm going to take it on that when you're like, what can I do in the beauty industry? I'm going to say, what can't you do? And the thing is, it's not just then, it's color, skin, hair, bath, body, men's, kids, right? It's all these categories, and it's all these jobs that exist that no one thinks about, that I think is the exciting thing about coming into a program, any of our programs. Everybody seems to think, oh, there's this one job. And then you're like, no, there's actually probably anywhere from 50 to 100 different jobs you could do. And the job you think you want may not be the job you're super talented at. That's what I always love. A student's like, oh, I really want to do product development for color cosmetics. And then they find out what they're really gifted at is they're really gifted at packaging development for skincare. And all of a sudden, you know, everything changes and the world changes. So I always say we're doing everything correct. And every single class you sit in, you change the job you want to do, and you change the side of the industry you want to be in. So that's my short, not so short commentary on that.
That's perfect, Tina. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that? Any thoughts? And are there any careers in your industry, in your major, that are unique that people don't know exist? Something in your major that people go for one thing, but they don't realize this other perfect major exists. Does anybody have anything like that in their major? Nick, I know you have one. Mimi?
Well, I not necessarily a job that people don't think that exists, but what I think is unique about our specific major is, you know, so many people think of fashion as this, you know, super creative field with full of designers and sketchers and sewers and honestly, like, I'm not good at any of that stuff. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. But if you are passionate about fashion, but you don't know, you don't want to sew, you don't know how to sketch and things like that, but you have a business sense, then merchandising and marketing is kind of the major for you. We are all about the business of fashion. And I say that this major is perfect for someone who is left and right brain, because although, you know, our major is all about business acumen, you still get to combine like your sense of style, your creativity, and your passion for things like colors and silhouettes and styles and all of that in our major. So I think, you know, a lot of people don't realize that there's this whole business side to fashion that you can come learn.
That's great. That's great. Nick, did you have anything to add?
Well, I was just going to say, giving my personal experience to whoever's out there, you know, I went to FIDM and I graduated with a major in fashion design. And of course, I thought I was going to be the next Versace. And, you know, so if I can give you my analogy of what I went through and the careers that I experienced, all the different types of careers, after graduating from FIDM with a fashion design degree, I ended up assisting designing, which basically I worked for a company, we made knockoff garments. And so I was sketching. I remember the designer for about 2 years, they would just rip magazines from Vogue, hand them to me and have me resketch them so nobody would know that they came from Vogue, that we were stealing the ideas from Vogue. And then about 3 years later, I ended up testing to be a pattern maker. And then I became a pattern maker for 10 years, which was really surprising because I was not a fan of pattern making during my time at FIDM, but I realized I really needed to know how to make the patterns to construct the garments that then I wanted to design. But what was most important is that I was earning $400 a week as an assistant designer, and overnight I went to $1,200 a week as a pattern maker. So I love pattern making, but that was again, like I didn't get a degree in pattern making. I didn't go to FIDM to be a pattern maker, but that was like, oh, okay, I'm going to take this side street and then I'm going to take this other side street. And then before I know it, 10 years later, with my partner and I, we started our own line. So we became entrepreneurs, sold in over 150 stores, and then made red carpet gowns, dressed celebrities. So then, we got to be designers. It took a little while to get there, but we got there. We found that street. And then we designed for QVC. So then we did the high and the low. What the point is, I think you may have a degree in fashion design and you're creative and you have a passion for fashion. You never know where that might take you. For me, it was about just getting a job because I just didn't want my parents sending me money anymore. I wanted to spend my own money and pay my own rent. And so it was just such an interesting ride, all the different jobs. And I always tell students wanting to go into fashion design that you never know, just like Tina suggested, you never know where it might take you, in terms of fashion design. There's so many different jobs. We just heard from an alumni who just graduated, who's now working in a design company, fashion design company, and she takes photos of all the looks and then loads them up onto the website and has all the fittings and it does all of that. And she never knew that, she didn't know that she was going to end up doing that, but that's what she's doing. And so within all our classes, we train you to sort of be ready, be prepared for anything, because in the fashion world and with fashion companies, you never know, especially upstart fashion companies, that first day, they're going to want you to do everything.
Yeah, that's so true, Nick. Yeah, very good personal experience as well. So that's what we want everyone to remember, is that there's so many possibilities out there. We don't even have time to go through all of them, but definitely when you dig deeper into the industry, you find careers that you never even knew might be your perfect career that matches your personality. So there's also a wide variety of degree options at FIDM, not just majors and careers, but also degree options. So whether a student is coming right out of high school, or if they're starting into maybe they already have a little bit of college under their belt, maybe they're going into a bachelor's or the master's. What does FIDM have to offer these students at each step in their whatever stage they're in? Mimi, do you want to help us with that one?
Yes, I'll love to take this question. First, I have to say that one of the things I love most about FIDM is just how multifaceted our student body is. Our students come from every state in America, dozens of countries all over the world, and they are diverse in background, ethnicity, age, and life stage. So regardless of your education or your work experience, FIDM has a program for you. And that's reflected in the various degrees that we offer, whether it's an AA, an AAPD, CIS, a bachelor's, or even an MBA. All of our majors are highly specialized to the industries that we serve and are not typically taught at other colleges. Personally, I am actually also a FIDM alumna. And when I enrolled, I had a bachelor's degree in an unrelated field. I was a psychology major. I had 5 years of work experience, and I was already in my mid-20s. My advice to anyone who is considering coming is don't worry about where you've been. Focus on where you want to go. And if you are passionate about fashion, or marketing, or beauty, or any of the, I think, 22 creative majors that we offer, just speak to an admissions advisor. They will assess your school credits, your degrees, your interests, and will custom tailor a program based on you.
Very well said, Mimi. Very helpful. Thank you so much. So it's been said that every student who is perfectly instructed will be like his teacher. So given the caliber of instructors we have at FIDM, that is a very exciting prospect for a FIDM student. So can you talk a little bit about the instructors and the experience that they have in the industry? Miguel, do you have something you could share with us on that?
Sure, absolutely. Great question. And something that makes FIDM completely unique is our wonderful faculty. The instructors for all the courses are made up of industry experts, and each and every one of our faculty has a wealth of knowledge in that field. So the faculty in every specific major are qualified to teach FIDM because they have or are currently working in the industry that we serve. The instructors for each of our specific majors are actually experts in that subject, right? So you're going to be taught firsthand by professionals in the industry. And we have a diverse faculty, right? That's composed of, like, you name it. We have designers that are going to be your instructors, merchandisers, buyers, marketing executives, owners of companies, so entrepreneurs, stylists, creative directors, graphic artists, technical design. I can go on for a while, Heather, like with this question. These are our faculty, right? And each of them is going to bring their knowledge, their experience, their expertise, but also their practical examples of current issues into the classroom every day. So your subjects are constantly relevant because it's being taught by innovators in the industry. So that's kind of cool. Can I share something with y'all? So prior to being the director here of the Merchandise Product Development Department at FIDM, I was an instructor, right? And I'm still teaching. But at that time, I was also working full-time as a creative director for one of the leading lingerie and intimate apparel companies here in Los Angeles. And I'd spend all day in the fast-paced, exciting world of the fashion industry and merchandise production. And then I'd come to campus and teach. And I can tell you from my experience of being on faculty, all the projects and the subject that we did in class, the students created these beautiful projects and they reflected literally what was happening in the industry, like in real time. So everything was relevant to the moment, to the season, or to the future seasons. And let me tell you, we really do have the absolutely best faculty. And as a student, you're gonna get that VIP treatment here at FIDM because your classes are gonna be really small and you get that one-on-one interaction with working professionals that are guiding you and also teaching you, but you're being taught by the leaders of the creative industries.
That's great, Miguel. So true. I love that about FIDM. So it seems like students are really learning from the industry right inside the classroom, from their teachers, from their instructors. So what about outside the classroom, during their schoolwork, but outside the classroom? What kind of special opportunities does FIDM offer in order to further their experience while they're at FIDM? Why don't we start with Nick on that one?
Well, you know, with the fashion industry, it changes almost every day. And we always get, luckily my office is right next to the public relations office of the whole entire campus. And so they always on a daily basis get some sort of lead, whether it's from Disney, whether it's from another film company or a design company wanting to collaborate. And so of course they just knock on our door or really knock on our wall and they say, hey, we'd love to collaborate with the fashion design department and can you reach out to your students? And so one of the really, really great ones is a project that we do every year, we've been involved with now for over a decade, is Supima. Supima is the marketing arm of probably what is the finest cotton in the world. And so they do a New York Fashion Week show, and they've been doing doing a New York Fashion Week show. And so what they do is they collaborate with all the top fashion schools and art schools in the country. And they literally just pick 10, and we are one of them, along with the others, which I will not name, but we are up there with them. And so we choose a graduate, a student from FIDM to represent FIDM and to design 5 looks, all in white cotton, but they have to change the white cotton. And it's in cotton twill, cotton shirting, cotton denim. And basically it's just to show the world what you can do with this cotton. And as an example, I have an example right behind me. I have 2. So both dresses right behind me are from former finalists, Supima finalists that showed at New York Fashion Week, former FIDM finalists. And these are they started out as white cotton, but the student dyed it, treated it, fabric manipulated. And so that is one of the really greatest experiences that a student can have here. We've also collaborated with Barbie. We've collaborated with many other companies, with Disney, like I said beforehand. So yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities. And because we're here in Hollywood, LA, there's, I think, additional opportunities for us to work with. And Hollywood and the movie industry is become very interested in fashion. We just had a collaboration where they asked the Last Night in Soho movie wanted to have a sketching contest, and they reached out to us. They didn't reach out to any other design school. They reached out to us and said, we want to use your students, have your students draw some sketches, and we would pick 6 finalists, 3 winners and 3 runners up, and they would get to attend the world premiere of the movie, meet the actors, and we would display their sketches at the Academy of Motion Pictures. And that was done and done. So yes, so at least with our department, we are blessed to have so many opportunities for our students to sort of collaborate, do outside work in the fashion industry, and now also collaborate with the film and TV and movie industry.
Oh, that's amazing, Nick. You can barely believe that those dresses behind you were just made out of white cotton. That's amazing. Such a good example. Mimi, I know you have some experience with that too. Do you have something to share?
So the question was, what kind of special opportunities we offer outside the classroom, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so there's kind of like too many to list in the limited amount of time that we have. So I'll just share one.
Okay.
It's the NRF. So because FIDM is so heavily involved with the National Retail Federation, it's the, if you don't know, it's the world's largest retail trade association. So we're really heavily involved with them. And because of that, every FIDM student, regardless of your major, is automatically eligible to become an NRF Student Association member. And so when you're a member of this association, they provide you with like really unique educational scholarship programs, networking opportunities, access to the latest news, and access to the latest trend research. So one of the scholarship opportunities that's offered every year, it's called the NRF Foundation Student Challenge. It's this like huge national business case competition where students from all over the country, they apply. And what they're able to do is in this competition, they're able to apply what they've learned in the classroom in a real world setting. And I'm proud to say that last year, FIDM took not only 3rd place in the NRF Student Challenge, where every student received $2,500 each, but we also won 1st place, where every student received $6,000 each, not the team, each.
Wow.
Wait, there's more. It was just announced today, like hours ago. This is breaking news. That FIDM just made the semifinals again this year. So fingers crossed, everybody, that we win again. So on top of that, our students are also able to travel to New York City, where again, students from all around the nation, they get to convene and hear speakers designed for, future leaders of the fashion industry. And I just have to say that our success with these kind of competitions is just proof that what our students learn from the industry inside the classroom goes beyond academic theory, and it is actually applicable to their future careers in the real world.
Yes. Amen, Mimi. That is so true. That is amazing too. So exciting for our students. I remember last year we were all excited. It's so great to hear about that. Just came out today. Go FIDM students. Very exciting. So obviously, just as you said, Mimi, you said it so well. It's so true that the industry connections, the things that are happening in the classroom go beyond academics, and the layers of industry connections at FIDM that we're hearing about, they really give our students that advantage they need in the industry. So Tina, can you share an example with us of how these connections have led to jobs for students? I know you have one example to share.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that and we've all kind of mentioned it, but we're very hands-on. Miguel mentioned it, right, that our teachers are from the industry. And so, but it's also our, the guest speakers are going to be from the industry. The tours that we do take you out into the industry. But more than anything, it's our alumni that I think are incredibly powerful and supportive. And so we've just had so many different opportunities where the alumni reach out and ask for another FIDM student to come in because they just know the education that they're getting. And, you know, there's also, though, one specific example I'm going to give that's not alumni, but I wanted to mention it because it's so significant how supportive the alumni are. But one of the areas like where you're talking about layers, we do in the bachelor's program for the beauty program, we do a 6-month-long project where the students work with the brands in New York on specific projects. So the brands issue real world live projects to the students and the students work on them over 2 quarters long. The brands act as the mentor and meet with those students every single month for 6 months, because the fact is they want to use the results of this project. And if the students are going in the wrong direction, it's not usable. So they want to make sure they're getting that direction. This turns into a mentorship opportunity. This just turns into such the ability to connect with the people in the industry and not only, you know, prove what you can do, but also use them as a guide. And I'm going to say that I will say that pretty much every quarter, so far, every quarter, a student has landed a job from that particular mentorship program and that particular opportunity with those brands to be able to prove hands-on that they've got the aptitude and the attitude that it takes to really impress. And so I know I'm not the only program that does that. There's lots of programs here that do those things where we are doing live projects with outside brands that give the students that path in and that break into the industry. And I'd say those are some of the greatest opportunities. That and the fact that your instructors will remember you when you aced the class and they call you 6 months later and say, hey, you graduated? I'm thinking I need an assistant. So.
Hey, not a bad bonus for having all educators that are all experts in the industry that we serve, that they teach. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great, Tina. And I know that all of you would have more stories, but in the interest of time, we're going to move on. But I'll tell everyone in the audience a way that they could hear more of these stories at the end. I'll let you know. But for now, let's pivot a little bit. Now we know that all of the industries that we serve, they're constantly changing and adapting. We have to be able to adapt. So in terms of design, technology, business, innovation is critical. So how are we preparing our grads to be leaders in these industries? Let's start with Tom.
It's a great question, because I think the thing that we like to think about a lot here at the college is really how do we future-proof our student? You think about all the technological advances that are on their way with AI, with robots, with all of these things, right? At some point in time, a lot of the jobs we see today are going to disappear, but also all the data is showing us that we're not losing jobs. There will still be jobs for people to do. And so that's what we spend a lot of time looking at. I think about what Miguel has done in merchandise product development and adding CLO into their program, 3D design software, which is amazing software, right? And the future of where that industry is really headed. In our majors, I focused on digital marketing and graphic design. In both of our majors, we also have to be constantly looking at what trends are coming and keeping our students ahead of it. I think a lot of it to me comes down to the focus on the education and making sure they're learning design thinking, which is, you know, not just designing a garment. We're talking about designing the world, any process, a line in the grocery store, the dots on the floor that tell you to be 6 feet apart from each other. All those things are designed as processes and as things. So at the college, we don't just focus on fashion, we focus on design. And so that approach to design thinking and how do we come at design thinking? Some of the students in the questions, or the potential students, were asking about, you know, do we look at other cultures? And yeah, that's part of what we do to come up with how to design things correctly. The other piece of it that I was also going to mention is we provide access to the new, what's coming. So best example I can come up with in the moment is something that happened just about 2 hours ago. Urban Outfitters just launched a new app. It's called Newly. Newly is their resale app. So if those of you that use any of the resale apps out there like to do your online thrifting, Urban's version is called Newly. Patagonia has a version, and then of course there's others. So we just got the director of marketing for Newly, who's going to be joining us at our Future of Resale, which is a panel we do. We do it each month on a different topic. Next month's topic is resale, November 9th. And she's going to be joining us to talk about that app and how it got developed, along with some other folks from the industry. So we do that as well. We connect our students from outside, or to people from outside the college who keep them fresh.
Very excellent answer, Tom. That's so amazing. It's exciting to think about all the diverse ways that FIDM is able to do that and stay in touch with that. Just for a follow-up, Nick, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think I love listening to all that. I think it's like Tom said, we make sure we keep our eyes, our ears open to what is going on. You have to stay relevant, especially with us in the fashion industry, just speaking for ourselves, how things change. You know, in addition to being a co-chair of FIDM Fashion Design Department, which also involves the film and TV costume design department, I'm also a consulting producer for Project Runway. And so because it is a show about fashion and it has to be relevant, there's so many things that come up that we have to talk about, that we have to discuss, whether, you know, it's technology, whether it's, you know, the type of models we use, the sizing of the models we use, and all those things become so important, especially, you know, just bringing in the inclusion of different cultures, talking about cultures, you know, but also technology. And for us, we've realized, it's funny because, you know, we've realized that even though you are making clothes, you are doing fashion, and the technology hasn't changed so much in terms of the sewing part, but it is all, you know, so much has changed with the computerizing of fashion with Clo. And so we make sure that the student, we know that the brands, at least if you're going into an entry-level design, fashion design position, yes, they just assume that you're going to be tech savvy, that you're going to know that. And so what's been missing now, which is so interesting, is the heart. And so what we've been hearing from a lot of creative directors, a lot of the employers who are hiring, that they know, they basically have told us, we know that every student, whether it's your school or another school, will know how to cook the white rice. They all know, but what's your difference? And so that is also what we're really including in there, is to really get, you know, not just have them learn the technical, but have them learn the heart. We had a meeting last year with Adidas, and we asked him just straight up, what are you looking for an entry-level position? And I said, it's so funny because, you know, a lot of you know, just graduated students from fashion design, they come apply to us and they show us these portfolios, and we can't tell the difference between Tom, Dick, and Harry and Jane. They all look the same, and they're all showing us hoodies and sweatshirts and sweatpants. Show us a hoodie from here to Brooklyn. That's literally what they said. So it's like they don't want the basic. They want, show me more, because we want to think of what is next. And so that is really something that my fellow co-chair David, Paul, and I, that we're both trying to sort of inject this virus, this good virus, into our curriculum, where again, we'll teach you how to cook the white rice, but then we'll show you how to make a fabulous mushroom risotto, fashion-wise.
Exactly. Very good. Yeah, very good. So on all fronts, it's so important to keep ahead of what's going on. Thank you all for that. So obviously these programs that you're all talking about are very sophisticated and they go to sophisticated places. But what about when a student is starting? How do they get ready for it? How much experience do they have to have before entering your programs? Let's hear from Miguel first.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we are very sophisticated. We have very sophisticated education here. And what I want to let you all know is that FIDM, you know, we are an institute of education, right? And by coming to FIDM, you're going to be learning, but also building skills that are specific to your major, right? And we have designed the process of how to build those skills in every major. But no prior experience is necessary to attend FIDM, right? Not too long ago, I was a student here at FIDM, and back then, prior to being a student here, I had a tough time even drawing a happy face, right? That was my skill set coming in, right? So I had no experience, zero, nothing, right? And through our cutting edge curriculum and our super innovative curriculum, I learned and built a ton of skills. And I own these assets now, right? And ultimately, these skills changed my life forever, right? And in a short time frame, I was able to do that. Now, if you do want to do some research and want to get ahead of the game, yeah, totally. Like, you should do it. And what can you do, right? What can you do to learn? So something you can do is probably you research who are the major players in the industry, right? And what are the best practices that they're following. Also, there's a ton of information out there, but you don't need to rely only on Google, right? There's other resources, right? And you can do this starting right now, right after open house. You can go to, for example, you can go to the business section of the New York Times, or there's also, are you familiar with Fast Company? You can go to www.fastcompany.com, write that down. And it's a business media journal. And they have editorials that focus on innovation and technology and design. It's a great resource, to get the latest trends of what's happening in the industry. So maybe you want to sign up for that. And then also think about yourself, like what careers are you pursuing or you want to pursue, right? If you want to be a fashion designer, a creative director, a buyer, interior design, whatever field that you're thinking of, go look up job posts, right? Because people are hiring. And look at the description of the job and what they're requiring, and make that kind of like your checklist of like, oh, I need to learn how to do computer aided design. This major offers it. Oh, I need to look up this. It's almost like your little checkup list of like how to get there, right? And it's always useful to be aware what's happening in pop culture too, right? Like what's currently trending, right? Like TikTok has currently exploded in social media, and it's like affected how we consume and participate with media. Like that's really cool. So be on top of that. But also, it's a school. Having some good study habits help you, and they go far, right? Brush up on your time management skills, also your organizational habits. So these are just a little bit of suggestions if you want to get ahead of the game before attending here. But like I said, you don't need any experience or anything before. Well, you're going to learn the skills here.
I love that answer, Miguel. Thank you so much. That was so good. So much good advice. So many little gems of wisdom in there. Thank you for that, Miguel. I love it. So we're going to transition in a second over to some audience Q&A. So if you guys have some questions, be sure you're putting those in the Q&A. But for our last question, before we go to that, I just want to say, for everyone that's in our audience right now, they're all in some stage of searching for their next step in their journey. So there's a lot of factors that are very important to be weighed. So my last question is, why FIDM as opposed to any other design or business school? And let's start with Tom on this one.
It's a great question, and it's actually a very reasonable question to ask, because obviously you're trying to figure out what's best for you and what's right for you. If you're West Coast focused, that's step one, West Coast focused, which to me is a great place to be as we head to the next part of this century. There's a huge focus toward the Pacific Rim and being at the center of the Pacific Rim, and some would argue the capital of the Pacific Rim. Los Angeles is a great place to come to school. Beyond that, I also think what FIDM brings to the table that maybe like a traditional college would not, is our focus on the active learning. We really want you to do the work, not just study the work. It's not just a theory-based education. I think that's an important element to think about is, do you want theory, which is an excellent way to go, or do you want to actually do the work and get practice doing it? And then I think the last thing that I would say that sets us apart is what I was talking about before, is it's all about design and really thinking about how you design whatever it is you're doing. So for us in the marketing space and in the graphic design space, when we approach design, we think about the audience we're going toward. We think about the goals we're trying to achieve. And then we go forward with, and there's a bunch of other questions we might answer as well. But once we do those sorts of things and we sort of lay that out and scope that out, then we go forward with crafting it. And FIDM, no matter which major you focus on, all of us think about that. how do you go about designing the work you're going to go about doing? And a lot of other colleges and universities don't do that. If I can also just speak briefly to digital marketing, which is one of my favorite degrees, along with graphic design, my other favorite degree. In digital marketing, I would also say that the key thing that sets us apart, that has also infiltrated several of our other programs, is a focus on analytics. In marketing today, as you all know, there's so much discussion about privacy, right? And that's because privacy creates data. And with that data, we can interpret it and do things with it that help our company. So we feel like at FIDM, analytics is very important to driving solutions. And so we teach analytics, and not just like how to look at a spreadsheet, but then take that spreadsheet and interpret it to a story. And if you can do that, that is a skill set that is going to make you quite a bit of money in your career. Like, we're talking 6 figures within the first 3 years that you're out of college. And I will just plug some of my other majors. Tina in beauty, she offers analytics. Mimi in merchandising product development offers analytics. And I also know Miguel offers analytics. Nick's program, and I know Nick's going to speak next, those students could get analytics when they head to their BA level after they complete their AA in fashion design. Because I know you have such an artistic focus over there first, Nick, that we don't have to teach. But I can't emphasize enough the focus on analytics and the way we teach it and practically approach analytics at this college.
I love that, Tom. And I love that you answered it from that side. And then we're going to throw it to Nick for the other side of it. Nick, how would you answer that question?
I think, like, like Tom said, we, in our program, we always like to say that we have a 2-track system, which is the students who do both the 2-year AA and 1-year professional designation AA before taking the BA in design. If you're just going for the AA in fashion design, our curriculum involves creative as well as technical, and so you're dealing with both at the same time. And how we prepare you, I think what's great about being here in LA, and I'll just again go back to my personal experience, because I got my bachelor's in political science from UCLA and I graduated, but of course my passion was for fashion, and I applied to all the top design schools. Most of them were in New York, and I applied to FIDM here in LA. And there was something, because everybody always thinks fashion, New York, fashion, New York, fashion. And I'm like, God, should I just go to New York? Like what? So I know that there's lots of you out there also thinking the same thing. You think like somehow you'll miss out if you stay here in Los Angeles and you don't go to New York, you'll never be discovered as the next great fashion designer. I'm here to tell you that's wrong. What's wonderful about LA is the geographic expansiveness of it, because I worked both in New York and Los Angeles. And what I really loved about Los Angeles and why I stayed here and decided to just make it my life here is because of the fact that because we're so spread out and so big, that in a fashion design sphere, if you want to do denim, go ahead. If you want to do sweats, go ahead. You want to do hoodie, go ahead. You want to do red carpet? Hello, you've got Hollywood right here. You want to do gowns? Go ahead. Streetwear, we literally invented it right here. And now everybody is coming to Los Angeles. Gucci is going to have their fashion show like 2 weeks from now, next week, here. Where? Los Angeles. Tom Ford is based here, even though he's the president of the CFDA in New York, but he is based out in LA. It's all about Southern California. And everybody's coming here to steal our look, literally. And that's that. And again, going back to Adidas, they came from Germany, and we didn't even know why they were coming here to FIDM. And we literally asked them, what do you need from us? And they, without missing a beat, they turned to us and they said, what are you drinking? What are you eating? Why do your 20-year-olds look like that? And that is why, it's just here. It literally is here in LA. And so to be here in the nucleus, in the thick of it, that is what makes FIDM unique. And that is why, the whole world of like, if you study fashion, at least again, just speaking for myself and our fashion design department and fashion, that if you want to study fashion, you should be in New York. No, darling, you should be in LA.
Very, very good answer. I feel like between the two of you, that gave us such a balanced view of many different reasons. Thank you so much for that. So now we want to take a second and we want to move over to our Q&A. So give me 1 second to pull up the Q&A. So one of the questions that we have has to do with the debut show. So I know that that's a popular question. So one student asked, I want to do debut or advanced fashion design. So how can I be a part of that?
So great question. Thank you so much. If you want to go into the advanced fashion design program, you do the AA program, whether you do it the 2-year program or the 1-year professional designation, and you get your degree. You have to do the AA and get your degree there. And then you get chosen by ourselves, to go into the advanced fashion design program. We normally choose 10 to 12 graduates of the AA FIDM fashion design program to go into the debut. And then you get to work for 9 months to create your very first capsule collection, which is shown in a fashion show, which you can now watch on YouTube. It's fabulous because I also did debut. So I did the regular AA, and then I felt, you know what, I'm not done. And I applied for the debut and I got accepted. And so that's how you do it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, great. Okay, I want to apologize because our time, we talked so much during the first part that we're running a little bit, a little slow on time. So we're going to, I'm going to tell everyone again at the end how you can ask more questions of these fabulous people, but we're going to go ahead and transition into our next segment, which I don't want you to miss. So I want to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this and donating your time to this event and helping everybody get answers to their questions. Thank you all so much. Bye. Okay, so now we have something special for all of you. So we are going to hear, as I promised, from an alumni. And so to introduce you to that alumni, I want to introduce you to someone special. He is an admissions advisor, and his name is Christian Moraldi. Christian, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Very good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to let you take over for a little while, and I'll see you after your interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Such great information that all the panelists shared. At this point, I want to introduce a special individual, and she is a graduate from FIDM, and she actually moved out from the East Coast and was born and raised in Boston. She studied merchandise product development and then went on to receive her bachelor's in business management. And upon graduating in 2019, she was hired at Travis Matthew as a merchandising coordinator. And in 2021, February, she decided to develop a luxury swimwear brand, Bowswim. And in July, she showcased her eco-friendly collection at Miami Swim Week. Please help me welcome Samantha Jones.
Hi.
Hey, Samantha, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Well, it is good to have you here. And with you and I for the next couple minutes, we'll talk more about your application process, or your experience, I should say, at FIDM, and connect that with all those individuals out there looking to possibly investigate more into our college. So speaking of which, application process, I talked a little bit about that just a second ago. Tell me a little bit about your application process and how that connected you to looking at FIDM a little closer.
Yeah, so I came from Boston, and originally I actually wanted to go to the OC campus. I came out here to visit, and I was actually shocked because the LA campus was amazing. I called Kathy, who was one of the admissions advisors, and I had talked to her and interviewed with her down in OC at the time. And then, you know, getting to talk to her about my interests and what I want, I originally wanted to come to FIDM for fashion design. But the more I had talked to Kathy, I'd realized that merchandising product development would be more of something that would I'd be more into, just because you get more of the how the start of the product goes into the finished staging of the product. But with the whole like interview process and everything, I got to design a whole collection. It was just a really fun application process. It's not like your typical application process, but it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely isn't like your typical application process, because one of the things that FIDM definitely loves to do is get to know students on a personal level. We want to make sure that they're sitting in a classroom beside someone as equally passionate with he or she as he or she, and having said that, that the right major is something that they're connected with. You're not from LA, right? Obviously, you're from the East Coast. Tell me about your transition to Los Angeles and what that was like. Was it a culture shock for you? How did you adjust living in Los Angeles?
Yeah, so I'm from the complete opposite coast, and coming out here, not having to deal with snow or just seasonal changes was nice. It was a big adjustment at first, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I went to a state school in Boston first, just because when I had graduated, I wasn't fully set on making that 3,000-mile move away from family. But I remember, it's funny, I missed my final of my state college, and I called my admissions advisor and I said, I'm coming to FIDM. This is happening. And I came, and the transition was good. I mean, I lived right in student housing. I lived at the Met. I don't know if some of you know that, but it's right across the street from FIDM. So I didn't need a car. I could walk everywhere. The grocery store's right there. I could walk to school. It was just in the middle of everything. So that made it so easy. But yeah, no, I got homesick for a month, but then I was so excited to be there. And, the FIDM faculty, they just make everything so fun. So you forget about, missing home or everything. You're just so excited to be there and really diving into the industry.
Very nice. And of course, you extended your education or continued your education with the bachelor's in business management. Tell me a little bit about that process of connecting yourself from being a graduate in product development, specialized AA, into that.
Yeah, so I knew that I definitely wanted to get a business degree, just because I knew down along the line somewhere that I wanted to start my own brand. And I knew that not only having the fashion aspect of everything I know with the product, now I need to learn the business side. So, well, I mean, one of the biggest things that helped me, that I took away from the business, courses, is I was able to start my company with everything that I learned in both degrees, especially the business one. I knew where to look when I needed to register the business, to trademarks, to certain licenses that I need. And I did a bunch of my projects and stuff too, specializing in fashion, so I could incorporate it and, just kind of learn how the business goes. And yeah, it all translated.
I want to hear about your business. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah,
so it's over a year old, February 2021, so a year and a half, right?
Yeah, so
yeah. February 2021 would be this year, correct? Yeah, obviously.
I started working on it in May of 2020 after I was done with Travis Matthew, but I launched it in about 9 months, and it's amazing. Bo has really taken off. I designed a couple collections at first, and I really felt like with sustainability, the thing that's missing in the luxury industry for fashion is sustainability, which is something that you're seeing a lot more now. Companies are really starting to push the sustainability aspect, which is super important to me. And so I created that. I do men's and women's. My entire men's collection is made of Econol, which is a fabric that's made of recycled plastic water bottles and ocean waste. And yeah, I was just featured in Miami Swim Week, which was unreal, and planning to do it again next year. And we'll be at the night market as well too, if anyone is there too.
The FIDM night market, and the date is
the night market.
The date is December
4th.
Yes. Give us a plug. What's your website on your business?
Yeah, it is bowswim.com, and then the Instagram as well is bowswimco, like CO. But yeah, feel free to check it out, and I would totally recommend. Networking is the biggest thing, you know, get to meet people, get to know people, ask so many questions, be involved. And that's like the biggest advice I could give you. And, you know, really truly follow your dreams. Cause I mean, I launched Bow in February 2021.
How'd you come up with the name Bow?
Oh, it's so random. It's so funny. I was on the phone with my dad, and I kind of just picking words, and I wanted it to mean something that meant beautiful. So kind of like thinking of synonyms, and it's French for beautiful. So, and I thought, you know what, that is so quick. And with what I've learned in FIDM, you need people to remember your name. It can't be something super long, super crazy. No one's going to remember that. Bow swim, super easy, super quick. But yeah.
Got it. I love that you connected what you learned at FIDM, which is, you know, the name, right? Obviously connecting that into having something to be remembered. Any other specific skills that you learned during your time at FIDM that you do now in the workforce out there?
It's crazy. Every single thing, especially in the merchandising product development major, I use every day with Bow. Especially the sourcing was one of the most helpful classes, because I knew exactly what to look for with factories and vendors, and I knew what to look out for. I knew what countries specialized in what, and you know, that is such a big thing now too. You just have to make sure that, you know, your vendors, you can easily communicate that product and quality is consistent and good. And yeah, so that was very, very helpful. And I'm trying to think too, like my textile classes were great, because you just learn so much about different fabrics and how they're made in that process. And I kind of also tried to focus on sustainable fabrics then too, which later helped with Bow.
Very, very nice. I see one of the comments on there is when the FIDM holiday market is, you can register. So make sure to check out the comment section, and you can visit with Samantha and Bow Swim during that day amongst the different participants that we have, which should be a fun-filled night. Speaking of comments, we're open to questions. If any of you have any questions about the admissions process, the department that I represent, or Samantha and her admissions journey. So definitely don't be shy and post some of those questions. Celia also posted that it's Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So do note that on the FIDM Holiday Market, December 4th. Tell us a little bit about, going back to you, Samantha, proudest moment from graduating FIDM to what it is that you do in the industry. Proud highlights for you.
Miami Swim Week, I modeled growing up. And so it was always my dream to model in Swim Week, but I had never gotten there. Having a show and then walking down after and just walking with my models and seeing all the swimsuits that I designed and created, that was definitely the proudest moment. I got off stage and cried, because I was just so like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. Just even every day too, when I see friends or I see people tag Bow in Instagram photos or Facebook, it just makes me so happy and so proud. Yeah, when people message me and they love the shorts or they love the bikinis, yeah, it makes me so proud.
That's awesome. Where do you get your inspiration from Bow Swim?
It's funny. I mean, I actually, from the first couple lines, I mean, I live in Manhattan Beach in California, for those who know, in Southern California. So it's so beautiful here. The sunsets are beautiful. I got a lot of inspo from just landscapes and outdoors, but too, I love watching a lot of music videos. And I think that a lot of new artists are starting to get really creative. And I think that colors and fashion in there, it really inspires me. So.
No, we're talking a lot about demographics and where people are from. We mentioned, of course, you're from Boston and in Manhattan Beach, and the swimwear brand that you're doing in Miami Swim Week. A lot of different locations that you obviously have lived in or participated and worked in. With that, there's colleges all over the place as well. Tell us, how did you end up at FIDM? How did you decide that this was the college right for you?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have a fashion class at my high school. And my senior year of high school, FIDM sent 2 reps to the fashion class and presented. And I knew from then that I wanted to go to FIDM. I also knew for a while that I just wanted to be on the West Coast. And there was always like, the stigma of, oh, you should go to New York for fashion. And when I toured FIDM, with meeting some of the faculty and seeing, where a lot of the alumni were working, it truly, it didn't matter, and being out in LA, it's awesome. And I've made so many connections here too. I mean, even when I was in FIDM and doing my AA, I worked for some celebrity designers as well. And it's just, FIDM has so many different opportunities that I saw to take advantage of. And I don't think, like what was said earlier, I don't think you need to go to New York. Fashion is right here. So, yeah.
Talking more about how big the world is in the US and different places and all of that. We have people that are joining us in this live event right now from all over the place, from all the different states. What advice would you give someone who's probably sitting there listening to you and I thinking, you know what, I'm not too sure, or maybe I'm not good enough, or I don't have that fashion class in my high school? What advice would you provide for he or she that's maybe second guessing themselves or might not be too sure that this is the path that they want to go into?
Yeah. You never know until you try. I mean, I was so scared for so long, but then I was like, you know what? The only thing you can do is try. And if this is something that you truly want and you want it bad enough, then you will succeed. And as long as you go there and you get involved and you work hard, then you'll do great, But I think, just push forward and you just got to do it. I mean, that was my biggest thing. You just got to do it.
And going back to that fashion class that you had, which I do love, there's some individuals out there that I mentioned that might not have had that fashion class. Starting going back to your first quarter at FIDM, do you feel that students should second guess themselves and say, you know what, I don't have that background yet, or I don't have that education? Do you think they'll be just fine starting out at a college like ours?
I do. I mean, some of my friends that I'm still friends with who went to FIDM had no experience at all. And they came, and I know at least one other girl who owns her own company too, and they're all successful. And all of my friends that have went to FIDM all have great industry jobs now, and half of them had no experience at all and didn't really know if it was for them. But the cool thing about FIDM is that you get into it, there's so many different classes that you can take, and you just learn more and more in different aspects of the industry, and then you really start to figure out exactly what path you want to go down in the industry. So,
and I think you hit it right on the head with the fact that it has so many classes that you can take to expose you and to empower you to proceed in the industry. And at the end of the day, we are a college. So students come here to learn. So no prior experience is needed, no specific exposure is needed. Again, I use that word passion. That's what we're looking for in individuals that are considering FIDM, with that passion of going into an area that we offer, whether it be fashion, whether it be interior design, whether it be digital marketing, and the many, many different programs that we offer. Get that education, and FIDM is definitely a college in which an individual could receive that. Any final words from you, Samantha, that you'd like to share?
Passion is definitely everything. You have to, you have to want it. And like I said before, networking, getting involved, and just the more you know, the more people you know, and the industry, it helps a ton. And, there's endless opportunities at FIDM, and take it from me, I feel like I wasn't sure what I was going to do for a while, but then I ended up starting a whole company by myself, wore all the different hats, and it was all thanks to FIDM and the classes that I took there. So
absolutely, a great final word. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Samantha. I definitely appreciate it, and the FIDM community, and I'm sure everybody out there appreciates it as well. And we're looking at seeing more good things coming from BoSwim. Thanks for your time.
thank you so much.
Awesome. And obviously we have a lot of shy individuals out there that may have some questions that they didn't want to post. So definitely connect with us on our social media platforms and our website, fidm.edu. And I will turn this back to Heather. Hey, Heather.
Hey, Christian. Thank you so much. That was so fun to hear you guys chatting. Thank you, Samantha, too. So for everyone out there, if you'd like to hear a little bit more from Samantha, if you haven't heard, FIDM has a podcast now. So it's called Your FIDM Story Podcast. So you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and check it out. And Samantha is going to be on season 2. So we're just about to wrap up season 1. So you can listen for her on season 2. So go ahead and subscribe so you can keep in touch with all of the inspiring alum that we are going to be hearing from throughout the seasons. So now we've been hearing a lot about the Career Center throughout our evening tonight. So now I want to actually give you a little more insight into that and what that's all about. So we're actually going to invite the director of the Career Center, Amanda Starling, to be with us right now. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit in with us today.
Of course.
So Amanda, something that I think is really cool, just to get right into it, I think it's really cool that FIDM offers career coaches. You were telling me about that the other day, and I think that's a very unique offering. Could you tell us a little bit more, help us understand the role that a career coach plays in the life of a student?
Yeah, so the goal is for the student to come into FIDM at the beginning, get connected with the Professional Development Center at FIDM, the Career Center, and get to know a coach. Come in, talk to that coach. The coach is really here to guide them on their professional journey. So we do your traditional things. We help you with your resume. We help you with your portfolio. We help you with your cover letters. We work with you on internships and jobs at different levels, part-time, full-time, etc. But it really is a coach to work with you. It could be helping you with a resource from a financial perspective. It could be just prepping you for an interview, looking at a job description, talking to you about your future in 5 years. What do you want to do? And helping you build that resume out with the type of experiences. Our goal is to support the student, to support education, work closely with them so we know what the educational outcomes are, and then support it and make sure that student's journey is strong from day one. We're lifetime. So if in 10 years someone wants to come in and they maybe want to go a different direction, they need to update their resume, we're here for that as well. So it's really to support them and get to know them and mentor and coach them along the way.
I love that. It's so helpful. That's so great. And that they can use that for their lifetime of their career in the industry. I think that's fantastic. So we've heard a lot today already about FIDM's career connections, the industry connections. So it's a very important, special part of a FIDM education. So how does the Career Center take that to the next level? How are you continually evolving FIDM's connection to the industry?
So it's done in different ways. We do job fairs. Job fairs are for students that are looking for a job at the moment. It might not be their career plan, but it's something that's a stepping stone along the way for them. We do career fairs, which is specifically looking at the careers that the students want to go into. We work with them on portfolio. So we have portfolio days virtually. We've had them some in the past on site as well. And then we look at the industry to help align the industry both with education as well as special projects that are above and beyond education. So it's anything from working with engagement with G-Star or Nike or Guess or HBO or Red Bull. And we also look at that pre-FIDM student as well with high school mentoring. So it really is a sustainable model to help that new student, that current student, the alumni in the industry to connect in different ways, whether it be projects or it be panels where we get them involved in trying to always work with all of those different entities in collaboration so that they have the ability to build their network.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So helpful. So we've also heard a lot about internships tonight. So taking that to the next step, what kind of internships are available through the Career Center? Could you give us some examples?
Of course. So again, it's, as you heard the different directors in education talk about the skills that their students have, we work closely with those students to try to, again, look at, for instance, in product development with Miguel, they look at concept to consumer. Same thing with Tina and her major, it's concept to consumer. So helping a student work in different aspects of that future career allows them to be better. So if they end up being in that part that Tina said was kind of the gook in the middle, then we want them to understand how to work in the beginning conceptually and all the way at the consumer level, maybe it's retail, so that when they work in that goop in the middle, they're better at their job. So helping them build out those different positions along the way, and those internships align with the academic requirements. So they're able to see what they learn in the classroom and then go into the industry and apply those skills and get that real world experience.
Yeah, that really prepares them to be really ready to just launch out there once they're there. That's great. I've heard some of the instructors at FIDM say, and some of our grads really talking about how in some industries, it's considered a good thing to be in the same career for your whole life. But at FIDM, I feel like the industries we serve, it's better to have a variety of experience under your belt. And I feel like the Career Center helps our students to do that right from the beginning of their education. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is for them to be immersed in different parts of as you heard with the directors, there's many different aspects today. The industry, you used to always think about trend changing. Everything changes. Global business, product development, branding, everything within education is a constant changing evolution, and making sure that those students have those networking abilities and that they're able to be immersed is really the goal of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love the Career Center. I love what it offers, but I know that sometimes the Career Center wants the students to come and get more involved so they can take advantage of it. Sometimes if somebody doesn't take advantage, well, if they don't take advantage of it, they're not going to get all those benefits. So I would like to hear from you, Amanda. Let's say that you have a student that is just starting at FIDM. What advice would you give to them in regards to fully utilizing and benefiting from the Career Center services?
So we are at orientation to start right off that day one, we're at orientation, and we want them to start thinking about that journey. So we want to engage with them immediately with those touch points, but our doors are open down here. We have a lot of students coming in and out of the Career Center that aren't ready for a resume yet. They're just trying to get their boots on the ground at FIDM, whether, we've got students that have graduated their AAs, but have never been on site, unfortunately, due to the pandemic. So we want them to be able to come in here and have a place where they can ask questions that are outside of the academics. They can ask questions where they maybe think they have an interest in something, but really coming through the door and being able to engage with us. We have a conference room down here. We have coaches they can schedule on our career network. We want them to sign up with their profile right off the bat It's a living kind of profile that they can set up along the way that's going to house their work. It's going to house their changes when they finish their first year to their second year, so that they're able to use that service and go in and see what kind of jobs are even out there, whether they're interested or not. They can look at employers. We have a Canvas website that they can go in and they can look at hot jobs, who's going to be on campus, who might be recruiting. Someone like Skechers might be on internships where you go to Nike and you potentially work at Nike for 3 months, or Victoria's Secrets and you're going to Victoria's Secrets over the summer, or Ralph Lauren. There's those type of opportunities. So getting them engaged, getting their profile set up, getting to know a coach, getting them in our system allows us to better serve them throughout their whole career here at FIDM.
Wow. So the opportunities are there. There's tons of amazing opportunities you just listed off, but the students have to go see you in order to tap into those, take advantage of it, right?
Yes.
That you heard it here first, you guys. Don't miss out on those amazing opportunities. Amanda, I appreciate your time so much, and you've helped us so much to understand the benefit of the Career Center. And I want to encourage everyone in the audience that if you're starting at FIDM, go see Amanda. You saw her, you know her, she's your friend now. Go see her. Okay, that's your job. Amanda, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Heather.
Have a good night. And to all of you, I want to say thank you for being here with us. Tonight, we have heard from just some of the voices that make FIDM a truly unique and special community to be a part of. So we hope that you have enjoyed getting a glimpse into who we are, and hopefully you've gotten your important questions answered. I saw that the chat and the Q&A were blowing up and all your questions were getting answers as you asked them. So that's great. Now, you may have questions that you did not get to ask. Words are hard. So of course, this is not the end. We're here for you anytime that you would like to reach out to us and ask a question. And we actually have a special event prepared for you the week of November 16th through 18th. Tonight, you had a chance to hear from our faculty and kind of hear the things they had to say. But during our Meet the Experts event, you can actually turn on your camera and chat with them live, ask personal questions, ask questions that you didn't get answered tonight, or anything that is specific to the major you're interested in. Meet the Experts is a perfect forum for those kind of chats. When you go to the event page, you're going to see that it's divided up by different majors. So you can really dial down into what you are interested in, or the few things that you might be interested. So join as many as you need to get your answers. So also, I mentioned the FIDM Story podcast. Follow us there, listen to that, get inspired by the stories of our grads. They're out there, and to say something cliche, living the dream. So it's goodbye for now, everyone. But we look forward to seeing all of you very soon. Come see us also at our night market, which is on December 4th. It's on a Saturday, so come on down and check that out with us as well. Go to our events page and you can find everything that's happening at FIDM. So we'll see you soon. Have a great night, everyone.